name is Father Pat Gorman, and I am the Associate Pastor here at St. Alphonsus Parish. As Christmas approaches, I wanted to take some time today to look at and reflect upon the historical St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas was born in the year 270 in modern-day Turkey. He was born into a wealthy family, but his parents died of the plague when he was just 16 years old. He received a large inheritance and decided that he wanted to use the money to serve the poor. And so he became a monk and joined his uncle in a nearby monastery. When he was in the monastery, he heard about a local family, a father and his 3 daughters. The father was so poor he couldn't support his daughters and couldn't afford the dowry that they needed to get married. And so the father feared that his daughters would end up in slavery. St. Nicholas heard about this man's trouble and one night went and threw a lump of gold into his home. The next morning, the father found the gold, rejoiced, and praised God that he could now afford the dowry for his oldest daughter. Yet the father still had 2 unmarried daughters, and so St. Nicholas returned 2 more times at night, secretly throwing a lump of gold into the father's house. The 3rd time, however, the man caught St. Nicholas and embraced him in thanksgiving. St. Nicholas told him to keep it a secret, but the man told the whole town. And so St. Nicholas gained a reputation for secretly bringing gifts to those in need. There's another great story about St. Nicholas. One night, a group of sailors were at sea and encountered a fierce storm. The storm threw their boat around, and they thought they were going to die. Then a figure appeared and told them not to worry and guided them to safety. After they reached the shore, the sailors searched the boat to find the stranger, but they couldn't find him anywhere. The next morning, they went to church to give thanks to God for bringing them safely to shore. When they walked into the church, they saw the figure who had appeared to them and guided them. It was St. Nicholas. This is why St. Nicholas is known as the patron saint of sailors. St. Nicholas eventually became a bishop and attended the Council of Nicaea. The council was a big gathering of church leaders who wanted to affirm the church's teaching that Jesus is God. They were fighting against a man named Arius, who was teaching that Jesus wasn't God. St. Nicholas lost his temper and confronted Arius, and even slapped him. The Roman officials stepped in and arrested St. Nicholas, stripping him of his bishop's clothes and throwing him in jail. That night, Jesus and Mary appeared before him. His chains fell off, and they gave him back his bishop's clothes and a Bible. The next morning, the jailer found him, and recognizing the miracle, set him free. St. Nicholas is thus known as a defender of the faith and helped protect the truth that Jesus is God. Another time, there were 3 boys on their way to another country for school. The boys stopped at an inn for the night, but the innkeeper was an evil man. He thought the boys were rich, and so he murdered them to steal their money and put their bodies in barrels. Later that night, St. Nicholas visited the inn, and he knew that something was wrong. He found the barrels and the boys, and he prayed a blessing over them. And as soon as he did so, the 3 boys were restored to life, and they went on their way to finish their studies. This is one of the reasons why St. Nicholas is recognized as the patron saint of children. All of these amazing stories point to the same thing, that St. Nicholas was a man who loved God. He used the gifts God had given him to serve his neighbor. He brought gifts to those who were poor and in need. He helped sailors when they were afraid and in danger. He shared the good news of Jesus' love with all he met and had a special love for children. And so we remember him today, and we allow him to inspire us to use our gifts to serve God and one another.